Hello, everybody. My name is Rose Smith. I'm a victim advocate with the Utah Office for Victims of Crime. And today I would like to walk you through the process of submitting an online application for the Utah Office for Victims of Crime. Utah Office for Victims of Crime, or as I'm going to abbreviate UOVC, provides financial assistance to individuals who have been the victim in personal or violent types of crime, crimes like assault, sexual assault, homicide, things like that. And we have recently developed a new application online. So today will just be all about accessing this application and how to use the system. So go ahead and navigate to the website newclaim.crimevictim.utah.gov, and you will come to UOVC's online application landing page. From this page, you will have the option to submit a new application, or you can check the status of an existing application. If at any time you're going through this application process and you need technical assistance, please give our office a call at 801-238-2360 for that technical support. So to initiate the claim process, you will first need to log into the system. We do require that new applicants create a Utah ID. So let me get to that page. Basically, we're requesting your email and to establish a Utah ID, just something so we know you are who you say you are. So I'll go ahead and enter my credentials in. If you are a new user to the system, then it's basically submitting your email address, creating a password, and verifying that email address. All right, I've verified my email. And now I can get started with the process of submitting a new application by clicking Apply Online. You'll be taken to a screen if you have previously started applications, just requesting whether or not you want to start a new application or you would like to finish the previously initiated applications. For this purpose, for this recording, we're going to go ahead and start a brand new application. So notice at the top, it lets you know that if you do not submit this application within 90 days of initiate it, that the claim will be deleted. That being said, you have from today's date, 90 days from today's date, to go ahead and change anything before your final submission. The questions on the application are pretty straightforward, but there may be some areas where you may want to contact law enforcement to collect case numbers and things like that. So you can go back to the application and submit for up to 90 days. So on this first page, we basically want to know who is the primary victim, and if you are not the primary victim, what is your relation to the primary victim? So for the purposes of running this test application, I'm going to assume that I am the mother of a primary victim son who has been assaulted. So I'll start by entering the primary victim's information. There's a section where if you go by a different name than what was assigned at birth, or you prefer to be called a certain name, just include that information in this preferred name box. If the individual who you are applying on behalf of is deceased or otherwise like a person with disability, please indicate so by checking these boxes as needed. Please provide the primary victim's date of birth. An applicant type, since I am an adult applying on John's behalf, I'll go ahead and select that John is the victim. When selecting this, you will have a couple of options, and I'll explain each one. An applicant is an individual who is applying on behalf of a minor victim, a deceased victim, or an individual who it does not have the capacity to submit documentations for their own self. If you are an adult applying on behalf of another adult, we will need a power of attorney, or that individual would likely be deceased. Applicant slash secondary victim is for individuals who are secondary victims of a crime and also the adult or some other individual or entity applying on behalf of the primary victim. Applicant slash victim is if you, as the adult, are also the primary victim in the case. Secondary victim only is for minor siblings of a primary victim or the children of a deceased victim who are under the age of 18. And then finally, victim, as I said previously, if you're the adult or you're applying on behalf of a decedent, victim would refer to that primary victim who is not the applicant. Okay, go ahead and complete the form to the best of your knowledge. In the section relation to victim, since this is John's entry, I'm going to go ahead and indicate his relationship to the victim is himself. Please enter contact information so that we can reach you. We primarily mail out letters to notify you of the receipt of the claim and also the determination of the claim. So we do want updated contact information so that we can mail any documents out to you. If you prefer email correspondence, you can indicate so by checking this box, receive email only. And then at the bottom, we do want to know if the individual in this claim has any health insurance. If they do, provide that information here. If they have Medicaid, there's an option to select that they have Medicaid. And if they were injured as a result of a crime that occurred in the workplace, we will request the workers' compensation information. So please include that in this section. If the crime involved a vehicle, whether it's like a DUI or vehicular assault, please indicate so here. And please list the auto insurance provider. We will reach out to the auto insurance to verify that a claim was filed after the crime. To add John to the application, I just click add victim slash applicant. It will prompt me to pick either the address I entered or a USPS standard address. Whatever is the best address for you to receive mail at is the correct option. Okay, I've selected the address, and so I'm going to go ahead and follow through and add John to the claim. You'll notice that John's information is listed at the top of the form. Also with a note that indicates that we do have to have an applicant for each application we're reviewing. And so in this case, that would be myself as the adult applying on John's behalf. So with applicant type, I'm gonna just check applicant. If I feel that as John's caretaker, I may also need assistance with therapy or anything like that, I can also select applicant slash secondary victim. For relation to the victim, there's an option to, indicate that I am John's parent, and so I'll select that option. If I entered the address previously when entering John's profile, I can just choose if we do live at the same address to add that address in. Okay. Now, I As I mentioned previously, I can opt to receive email only. In this case, I will choose that option. And when I add the claim, it will send a verification email just to make sure that the system knows how to get in contact with me. So I click Add Victim, and this indicates that they need to send a verification email to me. So click Send, and I will add the verification code that has been emailed to me. All right, my email address is verified. I'm going to go ahead and add myself to the claim. You'll see up here, there's John's information, there's my information. If I had any other secondary victims or primary victims that I chose to add to this claim, I would just keep on adding them until I am complete. Oh, and once I've added all the victims to the claim, I can click this button for the next page. Page 2 requests information on whether or not an attorney has been hired for a civil suit. UOVC will make contact with the attorney if that is the case, so please provide their information here. Please note that a civil attorney will be separate than any prosecutors that are assigned to the case if the state or city decides to file charges against the suspect. So in this case, I have not hired a civil attorney. Okay, page 3 requests crime information. We're going to go ahead and pretend that the crime happened in Salt Lake City. John was assaulted in the school, outside of the schoolyard last Friday. I'm not quite sure of the exact address. If I did have the address, I would include that here. But for now, I'll just keep the information blank. But it happened in Salt Lake City and Salt Lake County. Crime description. Please provide a brief description of the crime. You have up to 250 characters to give a description of the crime, so just be as brief or as detailed as possible in with that many characters. If a weapon was used in the crime, you can indicate so here. If if it was a physical assault, like the individual just used their hands or any other type of weapon, just you can indicate it here. It's important to note that this crime description box and this weapon used in crime box don't technically need to be completed. If you're working on this and it's challenging to type the words into the box, then please feel free to leave them blank. I'd say the most important information from this section of the application is going to be that we are aware of what law enforcement agency the crime was reported to and the police department's case number. We do require that most claims that we review are for crimes that have been reported to law enforcement and occurred within the state of Utah. So having access to that police report is going to help us a great deal as we process your claim. So this page, the fourth page, requests suspect information if the suspect is known to the victim. If you are not aware of who the suspect is, it is acceptable to leave this page blank, but we're gonna just add somebody in here just to show. Okay. If the suspect is charged in justice or district court and you're aware of the case number, please provide that here. If you are not aware if the suspect has been charged yet, once more, it's okay to leave this page blank. Okay, click Add Suspect, and you'll see in this box up here, it enters their information in a box called Previously Entered Offenders. If there's multiple suspects in a case, feel free to add them. On this page, we ask what benefits you would like to be considered for. Be aware that this claim, once submitted, it will remain open for up to 3 years, assuming that it's approved. So as you know, as things come up, as long as they're crime related, a reparation officer can add benefits to the claim. And I'll just go through for learning purposes as to what we can cover and what you might be considered for. So crime-related dental care is if there were any injuries to the mouth during the crime, we would like to consider you for crime-related dental care. Door lock replacement can be checked if the offender has had access to the home or potentially broke a door lock within the police report. We would want to consider any security enhancements to the home with this benefit. Funeral expenses are for homicide survivors. UOVC can cover up to $14,000 for funeral expenses for approved homicide claims. Replacement services refers to services that the offender or that you're unable to meet at this point in time as a result of the crime. The big obvious one for replacement services is often like childcare. Loss of earnings in relation to the crime. We can help with up to 12 weeks of loss of wages just with a provider note or with other documentation showing dates of court that you attended or mental health therapy. And this is just so you have the opportunity to attend those important hearings or recover from the crime without losing that monetary compensation from your employment. Loss of support to dependents is for survivors of homicide for their minor children to help compensate for some of the lost income of the victim. Assistance with crime-related medical care is probably our largest benefit category. We pay medical expenses directly to providers. If you recall, we requested your insurance information. UOVC is payer of last resort, so we would request that any medical expenses be billed to your health insurance, primarily to being billed to UOVC. But we can cover medical expenses up to $25,000 on most violent crime claims. Medical devices are, we can help pay for medically necessary devices if they're documented as being damaged or destroyed in the police report, or if as a result of the crime you're needing assistive devices, then we would pay for those up to a certain amount. Mental health counseling. UOVC covers up to 25 mental health sessions for primary victims of crime and 15 mental health sessions for secondary victims of crime. The Once more, we would require that you utilize any insurance you have access to, and then we would pay out of pocket on an approved claim. And then relocation expenses is for any individuals who have had to move as a result of the crime or assumed lease, like assuming that the offender no longer lives with them, contributes to the household expenses. We can help with up to $2,000 to support relocation expenses. So just depending on your situation, indicate what benefits you think would apply. So for myself, my child was injured and his mouth may be a little bit injured. There might be bruising, so I might have need to seek medical and dental care for him. I'm also missing work for medical appointments related to the crime, so I'm going to go ahead and check loss of earnings. And then mental health for me and my son following this crime would be very beneficial to our well-being. Once you've selected your benefits, you can let us, UOVC, know who referred you. So I'm going to say the school district resource. Center. They're the ones who provided us information as this crime happened right outside the school. If a victim advocate has provided you with this application, you can feel free to include that victim advocate's name here. Sometimes that helps if we need more information about your specific case. And on this 6th page, you just have the option to review the information that you've entered so far. So we've got the information for John Doe as the primary victim. We have information for myself as the adult applying on John Doe's behalf. We are not seeking a civil lawsuit, so we have not hired an attorney. We've got the crime information that the crime was reported to Salt Lake City Police Department, the case number, crime date. Suspect information is provided, and of course, my list of benefits that I would like John and myself to be considered for. If all of this looks great, click Next. If you need to make any changes, you can access the previously entered information at the tabs, at the links at the top of the page. All right, this brings us to the disclosures portion of our application. Please review this thoroughly. Of course, I'll provide a brief overview of what you would be signing to or what you would be agreeing to by signing this document. So assignment of recovery basically states that anything that UOVC pays out on the claim can be considered, we can seek restitution for any amounts that we have paid if the offender is charged criminally. If there is any type of civil lawsuit or settlement or insurance payout, we can seek a portion of that be reimbursed to UOVC, just depending on the claim being paid out to the victim. I think that's each situation. So we do retain the right to seek compensation for what we've paid out on the claim in those ways. The applicant victim authorization for release of information gives us permission to access protected records as they relate to the crime victim and to any crime related medical expenses. So these are things like police reports and crime related medical records. Declaration of truthfulness basically states that to the best of your knowledge, this application is true and correct. And if there is any inconsistencies, that they may be punishable under Utah state statute. And then finally, this last portion is just that you are agreeing to conduct business with UOVC electronically, and we can use your electronic signature. So if you agree to participate in our program, just type your first and last name and click the submit button. Now, it's very important to note that this application will not be submitted until you sign and submit. You can rest assured that the application has been submitted to us when you get to this page and have the option to download a PDF of the claim for your records. This is what the completed application looks like, and this is what is sent over to our office to initiate the new claim for you. Once submitted, an application takes about 30 to 60 days to process. Our reparation officers will access a police report of the crime and review the police report to determine eligibility for reparations. Now, we are governed by Utah code, and so they'll use the code and the administrative rules that govern our program along with the police report to really determine eligibility. So to check the status of an existing application, you can navigate your way back to our main landing page and click this button, Existing Applications. You'll see the application that we just submitted, 1101079 down here. It has not been assigned yet since it's fairly new in the system, but if it were assigned, you would see some sort of different outcome or status. Claims are generally pending, like I said, for up to 60 days. If you want to access an incomplete application or an application that hadn't been submitted, you can access that through here. Uh, you can get information on what was going on with the status of a claim throughout the life of the claim. Of course, if you have any questions or technical support, this is kind of a newer program for our agency or a newer process for our agency. So I encourage you to contact our victim advocates for technical assistance. Here is the phone number once more, 801-238-2360. We do have assistance in both English and Spanish languages, so please don't hesitate to contact us if you have any questions or need any technical support. We look forward to hearing from you, and we look forward to working from you. And if you have any questions, just reach out. All right. Thank you for your time. Take care. Bye.